Hi, it's Eva Cartman, and you're listening to the Dream Big Podcast Show, the place to go to learn, laugh, and grow. Today, I'm beyond thrilled, beyond excited, beyond elated, beyond joyful. You get the point. I am over the moon to share that Evanna Lynch, yes, the Evanna Lynch who played Luna Lovegood in the Harry Potter movies, is on the Dream Big Podcast. This is episode 138, Big Dreamers. You ready? It's time to dream big.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. We're inspiring you to shoot for the moon, take aim and go. We bring to you amazing guests who truly love what they do. Every day they're living their dreams, and so can you. Dream big, take action to reach your goals. Are you pumped yet? It's showtime, let's rock and roll.
Hi, Big Dreamers. This episode is being published on May 20th, which is my birthday. And it's a special birthday because today I turned 10. That's right, double digits, here I come. If you have been getting value from this podcast and want to give me a gift, go to dreambigpodcast.com/iTunes and leave a quick review wishing me a happy birthday and letting me know how the Dream Big Podcast is making a positive impact on your life. I'd love to read your comments. A special thanks to Christine, Blue Dolphin, Emma, and Purple Pup Kara for your recent 5-star reviews and kind comments. I'm very grateful for your support and you taking the time to let me know that the podcast is making a difference in your lives. The fact that I'm helping you and you're getting value is an amazing birthday gift. Thank you. Okay, now on to another amazing birthday gift, which is this week's guest. I must admit that most of the guests we book on the podcast, I'm not all that familiar with their work until it comes time to prepare for the interview. Then my parents and I watch a bunch of their content, usually videos on YouTube of the guests giving speeches, and I get excited to interview the guests as I learn more about that person's journey. This one is different. Here, not only did I know the guests, but I told my parents we need to invite Evanna Lynch on the show. She's one of my favorite actresses from my favorite film series of all time. Of course, Harry Potter. And guess what? She said yes. A special thanks to Lucy for helping coordinate and to Evanna for making one of my dreams come true to interview a Harry Potter cast member. We talked about Harry Potter, but we also chatted about Evanna's other passions, and it was so much fun. Without further ado, here's my interview with Evanna Lynch. Let's roll the tape. Hi, Evanna.
Hi, Eva. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Very happy to be on this podcast. I'm excited for our chat.
I'm so excited too.
Yeah, I think it's amazing what you're doing because I have a podcast myself and I know how much work it is, so respect.
Where did you grow up as a young child and how old were you when you first started acting?
Yeah, so I'm from Ireland, born and raised there, and grew up in a place called Louth in Ireland in the countryside. Very, idyllic, but also remote. Wasn't a lot to do there. And I got into acting professionally when I was 14, but I started acting just, I suppose, as a hobby when I was about 8 years old. And that was because I was very shy. I was a really shy child, but I knew I wanted to be in this industry. I wanted to overcome that. And I found that acting, being other characters, it kind of helped me overcome my shyness. Yeah.
This is a huge thrill to me because Harry Potter is my favorite book and movie series of all time because, I've lost count of the number of times I read the book series, and I'm a huge fan of the films as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow, you've read them all.
Yeah, so I promise we'll get to all the exciting work you have done since Harry Potter, but I do have some pressing questions if you don't mind me asking.
Absolutely, go for it.
My mom and I just recently got back from a trip to Harry Potter Film Studios in London, so it was amazing for me to see the actual sets where the movies were filmed. And I understand you were a huge fan of Harry Potter before you got cast as Luna Lovegood. But how did it feel those first days when you find yourself on set actually with Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint, and the rest of the amazing cast?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was amazing. It was a dream come true, but I was also terrified because, I wasn't trained professionally. I didn't have any. That was my first film role. That was my first foray into acting really professionally. So I was just, and I so idolized them. I've been reading the book since I was like, yeah, 8 or 9 years old, and I knew everything about all the actors. I even used to write them fan letters, so I was very intimidated, and I felt like, what am I doing here? Like it just kind of felt like it was a joke that was going to end at some point, and I was so nervous. I was like, oh, don't mess up. You have to be good. You have to be good. And it took me a while to like really relax and feel comfortable there and to make friends, because I think for a while I probably struggled, like I felt a bit inferior to all those, who'd been acting, doing 4 films before me. But everyone was so kind and welcoming that eventually I did settle in and I felt like part of the family. Yeah. But first, very scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can just imagine being in the sets with all those amazing actors, and you feel like you're just kind of shrinking with all of them there. What was your favorite scene that you were a part of?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I mean, I love all the scenes with Harry and Luna, like them having deep conversations. But I think the ones that were the most fun were always the group scenes. Just because they'd have all the cast back in, and it would just be like summer camp, really. It would just, all your friends are around, and you're having a laugh, and filming. I don't know if you've ever done it yourself, Eva, but it's quite a tedious process. It just takes hours and hours, and you'll get to film for a little bit, and then they have to change all the cameras and set everything up, and that takes hours. So we all got really close. So I would say one of my favorite scenes to film was the wedding scenes in, I think it's in the 7th film for Bill and Fleur's wedding.
Oh yeah.
And that's the bit with the dancing. Luna's dad comes into it, and that was lovely too, because Luna's such a, she's kind of the odd one out among all these wizards, and that's kind of reflected in how she dresses and how she speaks and everything. And I was fine with that, but it also felt so lovely when I met another Lovegood, and it's like, we're weirdos together at this wedding, dancing crazily, and yeah, fun.
Do you have a favorite memory or like experience from Harry Potter?
Yeah, oh, tons. Probably like the most significant to me, most striking was when I met J.K. Rowling for the first time, because I absolutely loved her, her world, and I just was so overwhelmed by what she created, what one woman had created, and so yeah, I had been, and I'd actually, there's a whole backstory. Me and J.K. Rowling had been writing letters to each other. We, through a weird set of events, we became pen friends.
Lucky.
I know. I doubt she has too many pen friends nowadays, but I guess I wrote to her at the right time, and anyway, so she and then she wasn't connected to the casting at all, but she knew about the casting afterwards. I wrote and I told her. She was so thrilled, and then they didn't tell me. They all knew what a crazy Harry Potter fan I was, how much I loved J.K. Rowling. So they didn't tell me she was coming in that day. And I was just sitting in the makeup chair, getting my makeup done. It was all very surreal anyway. I was still like pinching myself. And then she just walked into the room, and I didn't register that it was her, because, you think she's this just amazingly talented, super famous, legendary writer. But she's so small in real life. She's just a normal lady. And I was like, how could all of this have come from one person? So it took me like 10 seconds to register that it was her. But then I did. And it was very exciting and meant a lot. Yeah.
What do you remember like saying to her once you saw her?
Gosh, I think I just geeked out about the character, about the part, and that to this day, whenever I see Jo, that's what I do. I ask her all these questions, backstories of things that are going, because now she's writing Fantastic Beasts and there's more to explore. So I kind of just bombard her with fangirl questions, and I think back then I just had, because I was playing Luna, and I felt the pressure, and I really wanted to get it right. So I asked her. I think I asked her a lot about just Luna's journey throughout this movie, and like there was all that stuff about her. She was the weirdo in school and not having friends, and so I asked. I think we had a conversation about how that feels to Luna. Like, how does she stay positive when nobody really accepts her? So yeah, character questions.
Are you still in touch with any of the Harry Potter cast? Because it seems like many of you just remain friends to this day, and that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's very, you couldn't go through an experience like that and not be bonded forever, because only they understand what it was, and we just, yeah, we grew up together, really, some of us. So, Katie Leung, who played Cho Chang, she'd be one of my best friends, and Scarlett Byrne, who played Pansy Parkinson. Do you know her?
Mm-hmm. Wait, it's so funny because, like, all these characters that are from different houses, and some of the houses, like, hate each other, but they're still friends.
So true. I know. Yeah, maybe not Hogwarts, but in real. And I find that, again, because I'm a nerd, all my friends and we all have our houses, and they're all from different ones. And I think it's good to have that balance, because different types of people make choices different way, and I think that's reflected in the houses. But yeah, you're right. I'm friends with a lot of Slytherins, and sometimes I worry about that, but I like them. I really admire their qualities. What house are you, Eva?
I'm in Gryffindor.
Are you? Okay, not surprised at all.
You obviously landed a dream role as Luna Lovegood, but I was hoping you can share with our big dreamers what it was like to audition for roles where you didn't get the part, and how you have been able to keep up your head and just keep at it even when you don't get the role that you're excited with, and just stay positive.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Like, that is a big part of the job, and that's the hard part of the acting job, really, that you face much more rejection than you would think. But I think for me, it's all about gratitude, focusing on what I have. Like, there was sometimes I'll miss out on roles and I'll be devastated, ones that I really wanted, I really worked hard for, and I'll get angry or whatever. I'll be like, I'm gonna quit. I can't do this. But then I think back to, remember when I was like, 12 years old, and I was dreaming about being in Harry Potter, and I was like, that's all I want in the world, and that will make me happy, and like that's it. And then I had to be like, I've got the opportunity to do so many amazing things, and I also, I trust the universe knows what's best for me, has something better lined up, and you learn from every rejection. But I do also think it's really important to keep a strong, tight group of positive people around you. So people who will help you come back from this and help you stay on track with your dreams. Because I think in the past I've had friends or maybe some family members who, if I didn't get a role, they'd be like, oh, you know what? They kind of echo my dark thoughts. They'd be like, well, maybe you're not cut out for this. Maybe you should do something else. And I really learned that the key in those situations is to not go talk to those people. It's to go and talk to your friends who are going to be like, no, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You are healthy. You are happy. You have all this opportunity. You can go out and make your own films. Like, those kind of people who push you to be your best self and to focus on what you have. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's a huge lesson for our big dreamers out there. You just gotta keep on going, think about the positive instead of the negative, and also surround yourself with positive people instead of people who bring you down.
Exactly. And it's really infectious, that energy. I don't know where it's from, but there's a saying that you're the average of your 5 closest people. And I think there's a lot to that, yes, if you're around people who are negative or who worry a lot or who don't believe themselves capable of achieving their dreams, that will kind of start to affect your mindset. So you have to be around people who inspire and uplift you. I think you're onto something there with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you also gotta just kind of have people and unite. Like JK's, one of her most famous sayings is, we are as strong as we are united, and we are as weak as we are divided. So you've got to stay together and have friends.
Is that a joke quote? That's amazing. Where's that from?
I think J.K. Rowling, I don't know. I don't know if it's from a movie or... I just saw it online one day and I was like, huh, that's a good one.
Yeah, she's very wise.
Yeah. So most Harry Potter fans know you as Luna Lovegood, but Harry Potter filming wrapped up in 2010, and I know you've been up to many exciting projects since that time, and I'd like to ask you about it. So first, I know you're a huge animal lover, and I am too. So can you share how you've become an activist for animal rights?
Yeah, do you know, it's something that's happened just over time naturally. I think I feel like at heart I was always an animal rights activist, like or just I always loved animals. I grew up with that, and I was always. My mom even told me when I was like a kid, and I don't remember this, but she said I would refuse to walk down the meat aisle because I found it overwhelming. I didn't like the thought of anything being killed. And I just find there's something so pure and innocent about animals, and they do bring you into the present moment. They make you be still and appreciate the moment, and I love that about them. And I think just as I've gotten older, my philosophy has really developed into okay, we are we're kind of we're at the top of the food chain, as they say, but I think and we have so many privileges, our species, and we have advantages over other species, and I think we have to use those advantages to help weaker, more vulnerable creatures. So I don't know, it just was as I went vegetarian when I was very young, and then people started asking me like a few years ago. I started doing more activism because I found, when you're in a position, when you have a platform, when you have a certain type of celebrity, people are always asking you to support causes. And I was overwhelmed by everything. And then I really felt, I kind of asked myself, I was like, okay, what do you really care about? Because all of these causes are so worthy and valid, and I want to help everyone, but you'll get burnt out if you try and do that. So I really narrowed my focus. I was like, what is the thing that most upsets me, that most breaks my heart? And that's when I realized, yeah, it's animal cruelty. It's when I see animals suffering, I just, everything in my body wants to stop that injustice. So, yeah, and then as I say, people started asking me why I wasn't vegan, and so I did a bit of research. I read a book called Eating Animals, and then I just was like, oh, this is me. This is what I believe. So, yeah, for me, animal rights and veganism kind of go hand in hand now.
Yeah, I think this is such important work, Evanna, because when you think about it, animals are not able to defend themselves. So without activists like you, they would be completely defenseless. So I applaud you for the work you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks. I agree with you on that. Yeah, they're very, and they don't have a voice. They don't communicate the same way. So we have to be their voice. Yeah.
I know that you're proud vegan, which you just said that how you just stop eating meat, but for some of the younger big dreamers out there, what exactly is veganism?
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot of ways to define it. I would say veganism is kind of about being, well, it's abstaining from animal products for one thing, because of the cruelty, because animals have to lose their lives for that. But it's just like about it's about non-violence and non-suffering. There's a word in I think it's in Sanskrit. It's like a word from yoga called ahimsa, which means non-violence, and it's like a practice of trying to live your life without harming people, beings, just without harming and hurting other living beings. And that's what I see veganism as, that it's doing your best to be kind and to help others, and to not let there be more suffering than there needs to be. Yeah, I don't know if I've explained that very well, but yeah.
Yeah, and I love, Evanna, how you not only make those decisions, but you're really taking time out of your schedule to spread the word that animals should not be taken for granted, and that they're just as much as human beings as we are.
Yeah. Or just like, yeah, beings, that they're sensitive and they feel, they're like, people get caught up thinking about, oh, are they what they're not as intelligent, so it doesn't matter as much. But it doesn't really matter like how intelligent they are. It's the fact that they can feel things. And anyone who's, I'm sure you know, as an animal lover, anyone who's spent time with animals, um, can like and has a pet, has a bond with them, knows that they feel the same feelings we do. It may be in different ways,
Yeah.
but and I think that that's enough of a reason not to harm them. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you have a podcast called Chick Peeps Pod, which you co-host. How has that experience been for you?
Oh yeah, super fun. I love doing it, and I mean the reason I started it was because I wanted to do my kind of activism because there are so many people reaching out asking for help with this and that, and I was like, I really want to do like a fun, upbeat, friendly type podcast where because I think there are so many people who agree with veganism, who agree with the ideals, but they feel intimidated by it, or they just feel like it's impossible, it's too hard. And I was like, I just want to create a podcast where we can show people that veganism can be normal, and it can be, it's not about deprivation. It's not about, thinking of all the miserable things in the world about all the animals that have been killed. Like, obviously you do think about them, but you can make a vegan life fun and joyful and abundant and exciting. Like it is, veganism has really enriched my life and brought me so many friends and expanded my community. And I wanted to show that because I've a lot of vegan friends now, and most of the time, like when we're together, we're just, we're having fun, we're chatting, we're talking about our projects, and we're not. I think I wanted to break down the stereotype of vegans being like preachy and judgmental and angry, and because of course there are those vegans, but like there are also just normal people who I think can show the lifestyle in a really positive light. A friend and another, a writer, actually a vegan writer, she has this term that she calls attractivism, and she says it's about doing activism by being like your best self, so being your most radiant, full, just happy self, and being an example to people. Because I think there's two ways of doing it. You can go around and tell people, here's why you should be vegan, here's what you should do, or you can just like really focus on being the best kind of vegan you can be, living a vibrant life and being really inspired, and then people will start gravitating towards you and be like, what are you doing? What is it about you? How do you do this? And so that's kind of our thinking behind the podcast. It's attractivism, if you will.
Obviously, I'm a huge fan of podcasts, and if you're having a conversation with friends and you're passionate about something, you might as well record it and put it online, and that can inspire others, right?
That's so true. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many times where I'm sure you have this, it's probably why you have your podcast, where you find you're having a really great, inspiring conversation with someone who you're just comfortable with, and you're like, oh, I want to share this with the world. So, yeah.
And I just think what you're doing is wonderful for animals. And also, I know that you have a company called Kinder Beauty Box, and it sends monthly beauty products that are vegan and cruelty-free. So can you share how you've managed to take what you're passionate about and actually turn it into a business?
Yeah, so first of all, it's actually Kinder Beauty, but you're not the first person to. No. A lot of people, and a lot of German people, because in German it means children, and people are like, you're making a children's box? It's no. So it's about Kinder. And yeah, I mean, that all came about. I suppose I was doing the podcast, I was doing a lot of activism, and then I'd worked with PETA, which is one of the largest animal rights organizations, and there was a guy who I knew there. He became a friend, and then he had this idea to start this business, and he connected with me with my now business partner Daniela Monet, because we just found that like so many people, even non-vegans and non-vegetarians, people really don't like animal testing. They don't want to support it. Like it's almost unanimous that the opinions of everyone who are just against animal testing. So we were like, what? Like, why is it that so many people are against animal testing, and yet they don't have cruelty-free products. And it's just because it's a bit harder to do. It's a bit more obscure. Like, these products are generally not in your local drugstore. You have to search a bit, or you have to buy them online. So that's why we were like, how do we like, make it easy and fun and exciting for people to get vegan and cruelty-free products every month. And that's when we started the box. And it's been a real learning curve for me, because I'm much more, I consider myself more an artist than a business woman, whatever, entrepreneur, but that's kind of what this is. And I'm very lucky that, my team, Andrew and Daniela, they're more experienced in that field, and I'm learning a lot through them. And what's nice about also doing that box is that most like, we're finding that the way businesses grow is word of mouth, and so we're reaching out to other people with vegan businesses, and they're posting about it, and it builds a community of support. And it's been great, but it's hard. It's hard work as well.
That's another such an important lesson for our big dreamers, because no matter what you're passionate about, with some creativity, you can turn into a business and become an entrepreneur.
That's so true.
So I'd love to ask you a question about Dancing with the Stars, which you made it all the way to the finals. So what made you decide to be a participant, and what were some of the lessons you learned from that experience?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I was so excited when that opportunity came along. Because I wanted to dance when I was younger, and I actually applied to dance schools, and I was rejected. And I was really devastated when because I wanted to be a dancer, but I just didn't have the technique. So anyway, this came along last August, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I want to challenge myself, and I think it would be a lot of fun. So I immediately said yes, and I had the best time. I think I really learned lessons in positive thinking on that show. Like, I found, if I don't watch my thoughts, if I don't tell myself to think positive, I can slip into just really negative patterns of thinking, and always anticipating the bad thing happening, and always worrying. And I noticed that with my partner, my dance partner, Keo. Like, during the first few shows, well, every show, I was always so nervous. I've never been so nervous in my life. And I would just say to him, I'd be like, what do we do if I fall? What are we going to do? I'm going to fall. And when I spin? And he would just go, you're not going to fall. And I'd be like, but what if I do? And he goes, no, you're not going. And he really taught me. He wouldn't even let me think about, he wouldn't let me waste my time and my energy on visualizing myself, messing it up. He forced me to think positive. And that's really true, that, like, say in dancing, if you're imagining it, and you imagine you're going to go out there, and you think about how all the ways you're going to fall, you will fall. You will definitely fall. It's just your mind creates that. But if you just focus on, like, what you want to achieve, and the positive outcome, and focus on, I had to learn to visualize every dance before we did it. I would sit in my trailer, and I would visualize it going really well, and it being better than ever. And I didn't fall. I somehow do that series without falling. So I think that there's a discipline to positive thinking, and I really learned that. I learned that you can really do anything if you just train your mind to think that way.
Well, you did phenomenal, and I watched some of your videos on YouTube, and you couldn't tell that you were nervous at all. You look like a pro.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I was.
What's your favorite thing to do when you're not working?
Oh, reading. Definitely reading. I love.
Yay, you're like me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love to read. I read any chance I get, mostly Harry Potter books, but.
Oh, yeah. No, well, that's where I started too. I think it's great. That universe is so rich. It's amazing. But yeah, I think probably my favorite thing is to go to the park on a sunny day with a couple books, and that's it. Just read. Yeah.
If you go back in time and talk to your 10-year-old self, what would be the best advice?
Oh, yeah, good question. I would say probably kind of what I just mentioned there before. that to focus on and it's hard when you're 10 to find the right people, but to focus on people who are inspiring and kind and make you feel good. And then I think I would tell myself to pour my heart into things that I love, and that self-love will come through that. Because when I was 10, I really didn't like myself. I really felt uncomfortable, and I felt I had to do a lot of things I had to change a lot about myself to be worthy of anything, to fit in, or to be accepted, or to be loved, or anything. And people say, "Oh, you have to love yourself. No one will love you until you love yourself." And I think that's like, that in an ideal world, yeah, you would just love yourself. But for some people, it's more of a journey, and it's hard, and you can't just get that self-love overnight. So I think, like for me, it's gradually. I'm in a good place now, but in my teens, when I was 10, and then later on in my teens, I was just putting so much energy into criticizing myself and hating myself because I couldn't love myself. So I think I would tell my 10-year-old self to focus on the things you love, and then you'll learn to kind of love yourself by default. Yeah. And I would tell my 10-year-old self to keep a journal as well.
Did you keep a journal when you were younger?
I did for a bit, yeah, but not consistently. But whenever I find those ones, I'm like, oh, I totally forgot that happened. I think they're so useful. They're such a good, archive of things that you will completely forget about. Significant.
Yeah, I remember when I was like 5, I used to have a journal. Mostly I would just write Eva is 5, Eva is 5, Eva is 5 like 100 times. But yeah, I wrote about some fun experiences.
Oh. Well, what's nice for you, I mean, I don't know if you keep a journal, but your podcast is kind of like your online journal. You have these conversations forever. They're recorded, and you can look back in 10 years and be very proud of yourself.
Yeah, what trait do you have that like enabled you to take your big dreams and just make them reality?
Oh, what trait? That's a cool question. I would say curiosity. I'm very just like, yeah, I'm always pursuing my passions and whatever, and curiosity, like the need to know more, to find out more. It gets me out of my head. If I didn't have that, then I think I would be too much held back by self-doubt. But when you're really passionate and obsessed with something, it just takes you out of yourself, and it makes you pursue that thing relentlessly, despite, at the age of 14, I was like, I'm gonna go be in a Harry Potter movie, and I was just curious. I loved the world. I loved Luna. I just wanted to know more. And if I'd listened to all the people around me saying, "Oh, that's totally impractical. What are you talking about? That's never going to happen," I would never have started. So I feel like having that curiosity propelled me to pursue those things.
And for 2 last questions, you have already made many of your dreams a reality, but if you look at yourself today, what's your big dream for the future?
Oh, my next big dream is to write a book. Yeah, and that's a big one. That's what I'm working on at the moment. Kind of, I'm finishing a play, and then I'm gonna focus on that. But yeah, like we were just talking about, I love books. I've always written, and I just feel like that's But I'm also terrified. Writing is very scary because it's such a solitary activity. But that's
I also wanted to write a book when I was younger, and I still do. And like that was one of my big dreams, along with meeting J.K. Rowling and having her on my podcast. Cool. But I just when I was younger, after I read the Harry Potter books for the first time, I just decided I'm going to write a book. But it's obviously way harder than that. And seeing what J.K. accomplished.
Yeah, but I don't think you can let yourself think, oh, it's really hard, because you have everything. You have the work ethic, you have the drive, you're super smart. Like, it's not going to be hard for someone like you. I think it's just a matter of putting in the hours. You can do it.
You can do it too.
Thank you. Trying.
And for a very final question, where can our audience find out more about you?
Well, I have social media. I have Instagram. Instagram's the one I use the most. I find it fun. I post a lot of cat pictures on there, my cat. And then I'm on Facebook and Twitter. I think it's all under Evie Lynch, EVYLYNCH, or Miss Evie Lynch. And then if you my podcast is Chickpeeps, thechickpeeps.com. If you want to check out, we are currently on hiatus because all of us have other jobs. We've been on a long hiatus, but we're coming back in May, June time. So yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Yeah, so big dreamers out there, make sure to check out Evanna on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the Chick Peeps podcast, and then Kinder Beauty Box.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eva, and thank you for what you're doing. I think you're amazing. Like, I wish I had your positivity and your drive at that age. I think you're just doing incredible, and you're doing incredible for so many people who are listening. And yeah, I'm so inspired by you. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And you and the rest of the cast of Harry Potter all inspired me to actually do the podcast because they did film and I just wanted to talk also. So Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Eva.
Simply amazing. Thank you again, Evanna, for being a guest on the Dream Big podcast. It was such a thrill and exceeded all of my expectations, which were very, very, very high. Be sure to check out our show notes at dreambitpodcast.com/138 for links to Evanna's websites, social media, and everything else we discussed in the episode. Did you enjoy this special episode? If so, please tell your friends and family about the Dream Big podcast. If everyone listening can just tell one person about this episode, that would lead to a chain reaction that would get the Dream Big podcast in front of so many new people, which would be amazing. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified whenever we release a new episode. Finally, if you're interested in being part of the Dream Big Academy, please go to dreambigpodcast.com/beta, and right now we are giving away the Confidence Secrets course for free. Have your parents go to dreambitpodcast.com/beta to get the free course that includes over 1 hour of me teaching you how to become more confident, which is the key to achieving your big dreams. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Eva Cartman reminding you that you have unlimited potential. Your dreams are not optional, you need to make them essential. So take massive action to turn those big dreams into reality. Live with passion the way life is meant to be. I'll see you next episode. Bye!